Yeah, it's one heart, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. In the love with the...
And we're live. How are y'all doing? Hope you're having an absolutely amazing evening. As you can tell, we are both sporting our Lakers championship shirts on purpose, actually. Today is the 1-year anniversary, as we're recording this, of the death of Kobe Bryant. And so it's been for all Kobe Bryant fans, it's been an interesting just kind of remembrance. It almost feels like, I think Anna said, it almost feels like the year flew by, but it also was like the longest year ever, right? At the same time. And I feel like it all just started on the 26th of 2020. So it's January 26th, 2020 is like, from that point on, it just feels like everything has just been like a mess, right? And so, but Kobe was a legend, man. And, you know, we're not going to talk about Kobe tonight, but because today is the anniversary of his passing, we thought we'd honor the team that he played for 20 years by repping this. And, you know, hopefully the Lakers win another championship this year and we're up to 18, you know, so hey, just saying. But I'm excited, y'all. For those y'all that have not followed Pre-PT Grind before, and if this is the first time you are seeing one of our live streams, my name is 𝗪𝙧𝙚-𝙧𝙚. I'm a physical therapist, one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind, y'all. We help y'all get into PT school. That is our goal, to help y'all keep going so you don't quit and pull the plug, so that you can one day become a physical therapist. That's the purpose. And so you are actually tuning in for my favorite series. Like, I have been having a blast just listening and learning from these winners that have been coming in for this series. It's called the Pre-PT Inspire series. This is episode 43. So if you've missed the other 42, after you listen to this one, go back and listen to those as well. But these are students that have been part of our coaching program, the Accepted System, and have gotten into PT school. And now they're basically sharing their story, the good and the bad, like how they got accepted into PT school, what they struggled with. And the reason why we do this is because you might relate with one of them. You might be in a position right now where you're like, wow, like that sounds like those struggles that this student or whoever we've interviewed in the past has faced. Wow, that sounds like what I'm going through right now. And right now, maybe you're doubting that you have the chance of ever getting into PT school, and you hear someone's story and you're like, wow, like if they could do it, then so can I. And that's the purpose of this series, to give you that inspiration to keep moving, to keep pushing towards your dream of becoming a physical therapist. So tonight I am joined by none other than Anna, who I'm excited to hear this story and just everything that she's about to share tonight. But Anna, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely amazing. And let me just make sure that we actually, okay, cool. We are live on the right page. I've done that before where I've gone live on the wrong page. All right, cool. Is just me or is there no audio? Okay, so for those of y'all that are live, can you guys hear both of us? Let me know. Say audio works if you guys can hear the audio for both of us, because I want to make sure that you guys actually hear this, right? Because if you can't hear it, then I mean, that would be unfortunate. You know, we'd have a good time because we can hear each other, but we want to make sure that you guys can actually hear it. So let me know in the comments if you guys can hear the audio. Okay, perfect. So people are saying they can hear us both. Excellent. Because I want to make sure you guys don't miss it. So, all right, let's start from the beginning, Anna. Before we talk about your struggles, what led you to physical therapy in the first place?
So I'd say like my first introduction to physical therapy is pretty similar to, you know, a lot of people. You know, I grew up an athlete, I played basketball in college, and I want to say I was 16 or 17 maybe is when I had my first, you know, major injury. I tore my ACL, and that was the first really introduction to physical therapy and, you know, seeing what PTs do. And so, and I had a great PT, like amazing. I still keep in contact with him now, actually. And so just seeing that and seeing how he does his job, you know, getting to interact with people every day and, you know, just getting to form connections with people, I really started to be like, okay, I like this, like I could do this. And then I think over the years, you know, through college and after, I started to like get more deeper into, you know, that PT is more than just sports PT. That sports PT is great, but there's so much more that you can cover, you know, that you can really reach just about anyone in any type of injury. So I think I got into it, you know, like a lot of people do, but then as time went on, I really was like, okay, wow, like this is amazing. Like there's so much you can do in this field.
Yeah, physical therapy is a beautiful profession. When you start digging,
Yeah.
you know, figuring out what you can do, it's endless. It almost feels endless. And so, so now we know a little bit about what led you to it. Now we know why you kind of wanted to be a physical therapist, but it wasn't always easy, right? So obviously you're on this live stream. You're being interviewed right now because you have already gotten into PT school. So the end of your story is good. What were
Yeah.
the biggest obstacles? Because that's where a lot of the students who are listening to this right now, that's where they're at right now. Like that's where they're like, yo, like I'm struggling with this, that, and the other. So what were yours so that they can kind of hear what you navigated through before we get into the solution and how you dealt with it and how you finally got into PT school? So what were those big obstacles, those roadblocks that you felt were like, man, like, is this ever going to happen? Tell us the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yeah, okay, I think it was two big things, but they tied into each other. So I'd say my main one was just like doubt, you know, like I would be working on my application or something and I'd be like, oh, well, what if I don't get in this year? Then I got to do this for a whole nother year. And then I'm going to be this old when I start, you know, this old when I finish, like just thinking about just spiraling like that. And I was just like, well, I'm just going to apply to all these schools and hopefully one takes me. Like, hopefully one of them likes what I'm like presenting to them. And so I think also I was also applying with a low GPA because my senior year of undergraduate, I was living in Hawaii playing basketball out there at my college, and we did really well. And we went super far in the playoffs, which meant like a month of missed school. And my GPA took a hit. And you could tell, yeah. And so it was cool because, you know, it was my last year of playing sports and, you know, it was really exciting. But then that was the summer I was going to apply. And I was like, ooh, there's no way I can apply with this GPA, because it was like everything was good until that year. And you could definitely see it. So that I think played into the self-doubt too. I was like, why would, like, you know, who's going to accept me at this point right now? So I think that was my biggest problem.
Wow. And that was the first time you applied, correct?
No, I ended up not even doing it that year because I actually couldn't, because I didn't have one prerequisite. So like I had this whole plan, you know, to apply, and then it all was just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to wait a whole nother year, which like in the moment feels super long, but it's really not. But so I didn't even end up being able to apply because of my grades from that semester.
Wow. So how many times have you applied to PT school?
This last one was my second.
Okay. So that first time that first potential one, you didn't apply at all. So then go on.
Yeah, my first actual application was that next cycle.
What happened with that cycle?
I ended up getting a whole lot of rejections, and I got waitlisted at one school. So that was my only kind of, I mean, I didn't end up getting in, but that was my only kind of like little bit of hope, you know, from that year. But otherwise it was just rejections, because I don't even think that year I was ready to apply either.
Yeah. The reason why I ask all of that stuff is because everyone's in a different place, right? So Casey says, let's go, Dr. Anna, proud of you. But everyone's in a different place, you know. Some of y'all right now may have, you know, wanted to apply this past cycle, right? Or this cycle that we're in. And, you know, I've had a few students reach out to us saying, hey, I didn't even submit my application because I didn't feel ready. I didn't know I didn't know if I had enough stuff, and, you know, all this, you know, that confusion or that sense of, wait, like maybe I could do better next year, or, you know, just really second guessing. There are students who applied the cycle and got rejected from all schools
Mm.
applied to. And I think that's why I like talking about this stuff, because I think sometimes when those things happen, it kind of feels like the end of the road. It's like, all right, like, is this just how the whole thing is? Is this what I'm expecting? Is this some sign that, you know, all of a sudden I'll never become a good candidate for PT school? So before we go into the solution, right? Prior to us going into, you know, how you were able to figure it out and finally get accepted into PT school, what what were some of your thoughts, like, in those first two cycles? That first one that you didn't actually submit your application for, and that second one that, you know, had a lot of those rejections. What were some of the thoughts that were going through your mind? Were you kind of like, hey, it's okay, let's go for it? Or was it just kind of like tell us what headspace you were in at that time?
Yeah, that first one that I didn't even apply, I was like, I was disappointed, but I was also think I was a little relieved because I was not ready at all. Like, but I was definitely disappointed. And then I think the second round, so technically my first round applying, I I put so much work into it, you know, it's a lot of time and work, and but even then, like, I still didn't really have a great application. So I think at that point I was just like sending out anything and just hoping one person was like, all right, yeah, you can come to our school. Like, I looking back now, yeah, I was definitely wasn't ready. If I would have been accepted that last year, I would not have been ready.
Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. Like, y'all, like, we're just saying the truth tonight, y'all. Like, this is like the straight up truth, because I think some you know, be in it and say, oh, but like, this means I'll never become a good candidate. Like, you're just a lot more self-aware than even maybe I was when I was a pre-PT, which is amazing. And so now you had gone through a cycle where you did not submit your application, and then your first technical, like, application cycle, right, which was the second time.
Yeah.
So now what led you to look for, like, some guidance, right? Because you joined the accepted system coaching program, right? Like, what led you to say, okay, like, I need to figure out, I need to get some help from somewhere, like, and what drew you to the coaching program and whatnot? And then in the next question, we'll dive into how it actually helped you.
Oh yeah, okay. Um I so I joined I found you guys on Instagram, so that's the the power of Instagram, but I joined like right before this past cycle opened. So I think I joined either May or June, and it was after I kind of took a few months off of, you know, application stuff after getting rejected the cycle before, and I was just kind of defeated at that point. I was like, am I just, you know, putting all this effort towards something that never is gonna come, like, that's never gonna actually be, like, am I just doing all this, you know, wasting these years and not actually gonna get into PT school and then just have to do something else? But yeah, so I found you guys, and then I remember I did one of those free master classes that you do, and I was living in Hawaii, so it was 6 a.m. my time, so I was up real early for that. But it was just like nice to join that and see that there were other people in the same boat as me, like you said earlier. Because the first year I did it, I didn't know anyone else applying. You know, I didn't have a lot of friends in the field, and I felt like I was doing the whole thing alone. And, you know, once you really start looking up, you know, all the requirements and getting into all that, it's so much. Like, it is a lot. And it was just, I needed some other people that I could talk to and be like, oh, like, what did you do for this? Or like, have you retaken your GRE? You know, how are your prereqs? You know, people that you can talk to that understand the whole process.
Wow. Wow. From 6 a.m. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have woken up at 6 a.m. for
Yeah.
training, but I'm glad you were there, and I'm glad that you joined the program. How specifically did the accepted system help you? Because you joined at a time where right before the cycle opened up, you talk about having that gap, that you know, several months of just kind of like taking a break from everything. So how did it actually help you really handle this last cycle and ultimately get accepted into PT school?
So I'd say the stuff on paper, like actually physically on my application, I would say my essay was huge, was doing it the year before by myself, and I would have, friends review that. But I think having people in the field, reading, because my essay was really personal this year, which was kind of scary too to do. And so I'd say that was a big one. And then I remember at the very beginning, you guys send out that document that you just pretty much lay out everything you have that you're applying with, and you look over it and you're like, okay, well, this is good, but we should fix this. So I would say that was huge too, because I didn't see some of my own weaknesses on there. And then outside the application, I'd say it was just really cool to, make some friends out of this, and like meet people that are going to be starting at the same time as me, or I even met a couple people that have been accepted to the same school as me. So I think that was really exciting, like just to know there's this huge community out there of pre-PTs and PT students that you guys, bring with the accepted system.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Y'all listen, you guys, like, you don't have to do this thing alone. Like, you really don't. Like, I think a lot of times when we're struggling, we feel like we're the only ones, right? If I'm in Hawaii, maybe I feel like I'm safe from everybody else. And, but y'all, like, especially with technology, it's so cool. Like, we can access everybody we need on our team, like other students. Like, you guys can reach out to other people and just find ways to have a community of other pre-PTs and physical therapists to just help push you, because you do not have to do this by yourself, y'all. So if you're listening to this, and we're about to jump into a fun question, which is the day that Anna got accepted into school. But if you're watching this right now, and you're like, hey, I don't even know how to take my first step. Like I'm hearing this is great, but I feel like I feel stuck. I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to, basically not guess as an applicant. Well, you're in luck. We did a 4-part video series called the Acceptance Navigator series. It's a free four video series that Casey and I did. And basically we help you understand the framework, how to restructure the way you think about the application process. And once you finish that, I'm telling you right now, it will change how you look at yourself as an applicant. I think a lot of times we think that there's this ideal applicant out there, has a 4.0 and has all these crazy hours and whatnot. But no, like, you have the ability to become a strong, like, you have every ability to become a strong applicant, but most of us are just not taught how. So we want to show you how. So go to acceptancenavigator.com if you have not seen that series, and get started with that today. Like, just go watch those, take notes, and I'm telling you right now, it'll change the way you see your ability to crush it as a pre-PT. So that's that. Go to that link. Now, for you, Anna, what was the day you finally got accepted into PT school? Like, tell us about it. Like, how did you find out? What were your emotions after going at this for several years? Like tell us about that. The reason why I even asked this question is, one, because I love to hear how people find out stuff. But two, I kind of want the people listening to dream about the day they'll get accepted into PT school and kind of see it and vicariously, I guess, live through your eyes. But what was that day like? How did you find out? What were your thoughts? Tell us about
it. I remember, like, it was not through email. I remember reading it and I was like, wait, like, are you sure? Like, I remember just being so, not confused, but just like, really? Like, all those years of work, and now, like, it's finally, like, come into play. But yeah, so I remember it was early in the morning and I had to be somewhere, but I was just, scrolling through social media, checking my email, and I saw it. And the craziest part was that it was 2 days after my interview, which felt really quick. So I read it and I was like, and it says, congratulations, you've been accepted. And I was like, wait, does this actually say my name? Like, are you sure? Did you guys send it to the wrong person? But yeah, so I was actually with my family, and like actually in the room while I was reading the email, and I got up and I went to another room and I just kind of sat there and just like, I was like, wow, like, this is crazy. And I just kind of like, I finished reading the email. I texted a couple of my friends and I was like, guess what? And then I walked back out to my family and I just held my phone up to them, like, to read the email. and my mom's like trying to read it, you know, she had to go grab her glasses and then they like realize what it is and they just freak out. And I was just like, I was so in shock. Like, and then I had to rush and go get some, I don't remember what I was doing, but I had to go rush to leave. So then I think that night I kind of like let it like sit and I was like, wow, like now I know I'm really going to PT school. Like it's really happening. Like, so it was really exciting, you know, because you picture that like what you're gonna do too when you finally get that email, you know, like I'll constantly checking during application season, and yeah, it was really exciting, kind of surreal, honestly. So I'm still kind of in shock, I think.
Oh, it'll take sometimes it just takes, like, you know, sometimes it just takes months, you know, before it, you know, fully sets in. I've had students tell me that it didn't really click until their first day in PT school. But when you look at that, like think of all the times where it would have been easy to quit, right? Think of, you know, the first time where you almost applied, right? How easy would it have been to quit back then and say, all right, you know what, this is too complicated. I don't even know. You know, I played basketball for a month extra, you know, and so hey, maybe I should pick something else. It would have been easy to quit after your first time actually applying. And hearing back from schools, like it's, you know, like that happens where students hear rejections for their first cycle and they're like, I guess that's a sign, you know, and it would have been easy to quit, but you kept going, and like wasn't it worth like waiting that long and working that hard to finally get to the point where you were like, yo, like this is real. Like all I have to do is survive PT school now. Like it's a done deal. And so tell us, looking back now, what's one piece of wisdom that you would give to students that are listening right now? Like if you could talk to maybe yourself a year ago, right? Think of where you were a year ago. Like headspace wise, that was right out of your first cycle applying, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So like, what would you say to yourself a year ago? Like if you could go back in time, knowing now that you're already accepted into PT school, what are some words of wisdom you would have given yourself then? Because somebody listening right now might be in that same place and would value what you're about to say next.
I'd say just, you know, have faith in the work you've put in. My whole process, I was constantly second guessing myself and doubting myself, and like it's not like it's like I hope they pick me. It's like, no, like you deserve to be here. Like you've put in all this work, all this studying, and it's a long process, you know. Anyone that goes through it knows it's a long process, and just don't second guess yourself. You know, if you've put in all this work and you know you have like what you can bring to the table, like just know that it's gonna pay off. Not everything is gonna go into the like by the perfect timeline in your head, you know. Mine clearly didn't, but it's gonna pay off in the end, and it is definitely, it's worth it. And then just know that, you know, you don't have to do this alone. It's a pretty big community of people, and people want to see you do well. So yeah, I just say have faith in your work, and you know, keep pushing.
Boom. That's it right there. You don't have to, trust yourself and don't quit. You know, I think that's what you just said, right? Like trust yourself and don't quit, and be real with where you're stuck. Like be honest with yourself about what you don't know. I think we overcomplicate things sometimes, guys. Like if you're like, I don't even know the slightest of what to do next, cool, like get some help. I mean, we're obviously here, but if you have someone else in your circle that you're like, hey, like this is someone that can actually help me, like reach out. But your job is to not quit, right? Because every single one of you listening to this right now chose physical therapy for a reason. Anna chose it for a reason. I chose it for a reason. Every single one of y'all chose this for a reason. And so your job is to do everything in your power to make that dream become real. And the only way it doesn't become real is if you quit. Does that make sense? For those of y'all that are live right now, does this all make sense? Comment makes sense if what we said right now makes sense. And Anna, thank you so much for being willing to share your story. Thank you for being willing to take time out of your evening to just, you know, reflect on the last few months of what's turned into a pretty amazing end of this part of your story. But then now it's the cool part. Now it's, you know, surviving PT school, and it's a beautiful thing when you're able to say, man, like I navigated through some hard stuff, you know, like some tough moments. And one thing I like to tell students that get accepted into PT school, I say like find a way to document that. Find a way to write that down, what your feelings were, what your obstacles have been. And then when you're in PT school, or maybe it's when you're a physical therapist and you have some tough obstacles, because they will still come, it's life, right? Like remind yourself how you dealt with this phase of your career. And that will be everything you need to remind yourself that you deserve to be there still, right? Because I'm telling you, like it's not always easy, but when you can remind yourself what you've been able to deal with in the past, man, like you're able to keep pushing through some crazy stuff, and you'll be able to look back and say, wow, like how in the world did that all happen, you know? And so I'm so proud of you, and I cannot wait to see you become a physical therapist. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening. For those of y'all that are live, show Dr. Anna some love in the comments. And for those of y'all listening to this on podcast or on replay, thank you for joining us. Anything else you want to add, Anna, before we wrap it up?
No, thank you. That was awesome. I enjoyed that, and hopefully other people will too.
Oh yeah, no, dude, yeah. If y'all enjoyed it, can y'all say I enjoyed it in the comments? Like I want Anna to come back later and see on Facebook and say, oh, some people actually enjoy this. But y'all listen, like, we have plenty more of these for you guys. We're doing these interviews to inspire the mess out of you. I just don't want y'all to look at your story. I don't want you guys to look at your struggles right now and say, oh, well, my story is unique, or my story, I mean, you're unique, you are special, I know that. But in regards to like your struggles being unique to you, believe it or not, other people are going through similar struggles too. And other people have gone through similar struggles, and they have gotten into PT school as well. And if they could do it, then so can you. That's what I want you to understand. Like that's, if you can take that from these series and take that and channel it into what you do next so that you can keep taking strides towards your acceptance letter, then this will all be worth it. If physical therapy is what you really want. Does that make sense? So hope that inspired y'all. See you guys on the next episode. Anna, thank you once again. Y'all have a blessed one. Much love. See you guys next week. Bye.